Good evening. I'm Alex Smith. I'm the student minister here at Lincoln Hills Christian Church, and I am super excited to have everybody streaming live or maybe watching this video a little bit later. We just want to look for ways, while everybody's staying at home from the outbreak, that we can connect, even though it's digitally and on the internet. So hopefully this is a way that we can connect over the internet for the next couple weeks while we're figuring things out. So we're going to have a Bible study planned for the next couple weeks that we're going to take a look at what real friends are. So with that being said, we're just going to jump right in. Have you ever had a moment where you watched your favorite TV show, listened to your favorite song, or commented on a post from your favorite YouTuber and thought to yourself, I feel like I know them, like we're practically best friends? Maybe you feel like you share so much in common with that person or character that if you ran into them on the street, that you'd be able to finish each other's sentences. Your favorite music artist seems to write the lyrics that are so relatable to your life that it's almost like you guys have the same mind and that you're automatically best friends. But eventually, this feeling passes and you realize, wait, I don't actually know them. They're not my real friend. We all realize that our favorite celebrities don't qualify as our real friends, regardless of how much we wish they were. But maybe you get to thinking about your actual friends, the ones you spend time with every single day. In fact, you may even wonder, who are my real friends? Finding the answer to this question might be harder than you think. Friendship is a huge deal in school. Your friends are your people, your tribe, your squad, your gang, or whatever else you call each other. They're the people that you text that when you're going through a breakup, the people that you vent to about your parents, or you spend every waking minute with on the weekends. Your friends play a huge role in your life right now. But if we're honest, I think we'd all say that friendship, like real friendship, isn't easy. Finding people to hang out with every once in a while, we can all do that. But finding real friends, the kind of friends who stick with you, treat you well, and influence your life in a good way, well, those are a little bit harder to find. Maybe it seems like your friend group is always changing. You move to a new school, you switch classes, or take up a new hobby. All of a sudden, the faces in your life change. You're making new friends, which is cool. But then when your friend group is constantly changing, it's tough to build and maintain those close friendships. Maybe you don't feel like you have real friends because you have hard-to-meet standards. Your friends don't do the same things that you want them to do. They don't connect with you enough during the week. They don't hang out with you enough during the weekends. Or they remember the important details of your life. You feel like those are the kind of things that real friends do, but you don't have any friends around you who are doing them. Maybe you don't feel like you have friends. You aren't worried about finding real friends because you just like to have a friend. For whatever reason, you struggle to connect with people your age. Maybe you aren't sure how to even find a friend at this point, and that's a hard place to be. Maybe you're not sure where you stand with your friends. Sometimes it seems like you're left out of text threads, or you don't get a voice in making plans, or nobody's inviting you to anything. If we were being honest, you're not even sure if you're actually in with your friends or not. No matter what your friend situation looks like, I think we can all agree that when it comes to figuring out real friendships, the struggle is most definitely real. Can I let you in on a little secret? Do you know what all of those thoughts and struggles about friendships have in common? It's the central idea that your friends aren't doing enough for you. When it comes to friendship, we all tend to focus on what we're not getting from the people in our lives. In one way or another, we're disappointed in our friendships because we're looking at what our friends aren't doing. So instead of feeling like we have real friends, we may sometimes feel sad, frustrated, and lonely. So what do we do when our friends aren't meeting our expectations? And how do we find real friends? Let's talk about it. As it turns out, friendship is not a new concept. In fact, the Bible addresses it. And one of the best examples of a real friend is Jesus. The Gospels, which are the first 4 books in the New Testament, are the accounts of Jesus' life written by some of his closest friends. One of those books was written by a guy who is arguably Jesus' realest friend of all, a guy named John. John was one of Jesus' 12 disciples, the guys who spent all their time following and learning from Jesus while he was on earth. John even describes himself as the disciple Jesus loved. So when we read what John wrote about Jesus, we're reading what one real friend had to say about another. At one point, John writes about a very serious moment in Jesus' life. It took place right before Jesus would be arrested and sentenced to die on the cross. And while his disciples had no idea what was about to happen, Jesus knew what was approaching. With that in mind, Jesus gathered his friends together for one last meal together. Considering what was ahead for him, Jesus could have been looking around the table at his friends and thinking, what are these guys doing for me when all of this happens? What are they going to do to prove that they're my real friends? But that's not what Jesus did. Instead of waiting to see how his friends would respond to him, Jesus decided to act first. Instead of being reactive, Jesus was proactive with his friends. Here's what happened. So he got it from the table, took off his robe, wrapped a towel around his waist, and poured water into a basin. Then he began to wash the disciples' feet, drying them with the towel he had around him. No matter how many times I read this, I can't get over how strange the moment seems. In ancient times like this, people walked around everywhere, sometimes in their bare feet. I cannot overstate this. Feet were not even remotely clean. What makes it even stranger is the task of washing someone's feet wasn't normally something a friend would do for another friend. This job usually gets done by a servant or for an esteemed guest, someone who ranked higher in position. So why would Jesus do something like this? If he was God in human form, nobody ranked higher in his position than him. So shouldn't these guys have washed Jesus' feet for him? I think Jesus did this for his disciples and closest friends to demonstrate what real friendship looks like. In other words, Jesus took the first step. He didn't wait for somebody else to do the work in his friendships. He didn't wait to see what his friends could do for him. Instead, he took a step to show them what real friendship looked like. He showed them the kind of friend he wanted them to be to other people. In fact, the Gospel of Luke, Jesus said something that sums up his take on this friendship. Do to others as you would like them to do to you. In other words, Jesus is saying that when it comes to relationships, we need to be proactive. We need to treat our friends the way we wish they treated us. But this is so difficult to do, right? Because let's be honest, we usually take the opposite approach. Usually we react. We treat people the way they treat us. We respond to how they make us feel. If somebody makes us feel angry because we aren't meeting our standards of friendship, we treat them with anger. If someone leaves us out of a group text, you better believe we'll leave them out of our group text as well. But if we really think about it, we can agree that it's not the way we want our friendships to work. We want our friendships to value us, include us, and notice us, and be kind to us. We want to feel important to our real friends. And what Jesus shows us is that when it comes to friendship, we have to take the first step. We have to treat our friends the way we want to be treated. We have to make the first move. Think about what Jesus says in today's terms. What if I text others as the way I would like to be texted? What if I invite others as I would like to be invited? What if I talk to others as I would like to be talked to? And what if I post about others on social media as I would like to be posted about? Is this difficult? For sure. But I think that this has the potential to change the way we look at friendships. We all want real friends. And what Jesus is showing us is that if we want real friends, we have to start by being a real friend first. In other words, be the friend you want to have. No matter what your friendship situation looks like, whether you have a million friends or you wish you could find just one, we can all work on being a kind of friend that we want to have. Jesus set the tone in his friendships, and we can do this too. We can make the first move. If your friends aren't asking you to hang out, then why not ask them first? Instead of waiting for somebody else in the group to start the group text, why don't you start it? If somebody left you out of a group hangout, don't retaliate. Include them in the next plan. If you and your best friends haven't had a night of junk food and video games in a while, tell them that it's on at your place this weekend. In big and small ways, make the first move to create the kind of friendships you want to have. Now, here's the thing about making the first move. It can be really scary. And honestly, it doesn't always work out the way we want it to. It doesn't change your friendships immediately. Sometimes it doesn't even change them at all. But even if it doesn't work exactly how you want it to, you will never regret making the first move in your friendships. This is the way that Jesus acted in all of his relationships. It's the Jesus-like way to be a friend. You won't regret treating other people the way you would like to be treated. Regardless of the outcome, you're learning a better way to live, and that's something worth doing. Maybe some of you are sitting here and thinking, I would love to make the first move, but I don't even feel like I have a friend to move toward. What am I supposed to do? And I get it. That's a really tough situation to be in, but trust me when I tell you that real friends are going to show up in your life at some point. Maybe you won't find them in middle or high school, but remember, there's a whole world of people out there that you haven't met. And in the whole world of people, I believe there are some real friends for you. So while you're waiting for those friends, one thing you can do is to learn how to be a friend to you, to yourself. We often treat others the way we want to treat ourselves, and often we get into the habit of treating ourselves really poorly when we don't have the friendships we want. So take some time to focus on you. Set the tone for the way you want to be treated by learning how to treat yourself that way. Be kind to yourself, be patient with yourself, and be forgiving of yourself. Focus on being a friend to you in order to be a better friend to others along the way. If you begin to be the friend you want to have, your life will be better for it. Your friends will be better for it. And one person at a time, everyone you encounter will be better for it. And eventually, by being a real friend first, you'll find the real friends you want to have in your life. It starts by being the real friend you want to have.